Really? We're really gonna keep making toys of this guy still? Did y'all forget he dies in like everything he's ever in? Seriously, there's a reason why we call him Robo Jesus. At this point, we're gonna have to make an entire religion based. What's up, guys? BC coming back at you guys with another Transformers video review, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Transformers Earthrise Leader Class Optimus Prime, which is going to be one of those figures that I may or may not be replacing in the future. We don't know this for certain, but we're going to wait and see. As it stands, we're going to still take a look at this entirely because there are some things with it that I want to be able to get out to at least get out into the open on. Just in general, how I feel overall about the product. So, as you can see, here he is in his truck mode, which, you know, obviously he has the trailer, the guns attached back here, and it's a very G1-y Prime. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and actually take this off and move this off to the side. I'm going to focus on this trailer because, to be completely honest, it's very boring. This thing flips down. There it is as a box. The box opens. You get the repair drone. You get this shield piece, if it'll all work properly. There we go. So there you go. There's that. You know, all this opens up. It stands up to do the thing that the old toy did. You know, these are things that if it matters to you, it's there. But for me personally, this entire trailer literally just sits on the shelf. So now that we're basically done talking about this, which is not even remotely important to me, let's go ahead and actually talk about the truck / Prime himself. And as you can clearly see, he is the very, very tried and true classic red and blue. Now, of course, this looks a little on the prettier side because this is a second-hand figure. I got this from... I had a feeling this was going to come back to haunt me. I got this from fucking Rob, who donated his to me for the sake of my collection. And, of course, that's bearing in mind this was before we found out about the 86 Commander coming out. Still waiting to see what it looks like at the time of this recording, and we will see if that's going to be so much better to the point where I'll end up replacing this, and if I end up replacing it, I'll just go ahead and give this back to him. But, you know, that being said, while it's still in my possession, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. So here he is, and it's, you know, like setting him right about here, and with the magical power of JJ's video editing skills, there he is next to the Siege Prime, and as you can tell, it's basically a straight up like heavy retool of that previous Voyager class figure, which yeah, for those of us who were around during Siege, you all know Siege Prime is kind of a banger. So yeah, that being said, that's the truck. That is the bulk of what we're going to be talking about with it. So let's go ahead and actually yank this piece off and flip it forward so that we can actually have this ready to go for when we transform him, which is right now. And there's the robot mode. And yeah, it's very G1-y in the way it both looks and feels. Really shouldn't be that surprised about it. you know, it's a classic look. You really can't beat this. Now, of course, you know, the red, the blue, it all matches up and looks really, really nice here on this figure. And again, moving him over here, here is the Siege Voyager in robot mode. And one can definitely tell it is, yeah, it's a very heavy retool of that figure. Although, honestly, you really can't tell in the robot modes. So, yeah, it's a very, very heavy retool, and that's probably why Earthrise initially kind of forced me out of mainline for a while, because I just didn't really like the fact that they were very unapologetic with the fact that, well, you know, it was just a straight-up retool where it made all of us go, if that was the intention, then why didn't you just do that from the get-go? Anyways, that's just a gripe with me. Anyways, so let's go ahead and do some size comparisons real quick. So there is the Earthrise Prime, and there he is next to Voyager Megatron from Siege. Now, the Siege Megatron mold gets a lot of flack by a lot of people, and I'm just going to be real, I like that Megatron more than most. But that's a story for another day. This next one, though, bear in mind these are supposed to be the same size class. There he is next to SS-86 Leader Grimlock, and as you can see, this is where that whole not paying for size, paying for engineering thing really kind of gives lie, because if I'm paying $50 for this, and I'm also paying $50 for this, between the two of these, I'm going to go with that, because look at how much larger he is in comparison. Now, granted, the Dinobots are supposed to be significantly larger than the other Autobots. They're supposed to be. But at the end of the day, you know, the design philosophy of today, it has its pluses, it has its minuses. Whatever you feel is the way at this point. I'm genuinely not going to continue to argue it at this point. It's just not worth it anymore. And there he is with the War for Cybertron Netflix book. Wait a minute. That's not the Netflix. Is this a possible tease for the future? Accessories and gimmicks wise, he does have the blaster that he can hold in his hand. Or, if you so chose, there's a plug-in port on the back that can house it on his back. Naturally, I have it in his hand, so there you go. And yeah, at this point, we can now go into the articulation segment. Articulation-wise, there is a ball joint in his neck. Get you full freedom and range of motion. There is a dual hinge swivel in the shoulders. There's a bicep swivel. And a, let's face it, pretty pathetic elbow bend. I'm not complaining. I'm glad it's there. Just, you know, would have been nice if this could actually extend down to give him a lot more freedom to actually bend his elbow. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I am a toy engineer. I'm not going to act like I know better, because I'm not the one designing these. Anyways, he has a waist swivel. And something that I've learned over time, if you don't like the wheels on his butt, they pop right off. So you not only get a cleaner aesthetic, you get a lot more waist movement out of him. Now, of course, as much as I like how it looks aesthetically, I prefer to keep him as pristine as possible, so those will be going right back on. Anyways, so forward and back hips. In and out as well. The thigh swivel. Look at how deep that knee bend is. Like, he could get some tiger knee up in here. That is crazy. And the ankle tilt. So he is very much of the modern standard when it comes to articulation. Yep. Now, also, he does have the opening hands and the wrist swivel. You know, for those who are probably already in the comment sections telling me I forgot about it, he does have that. One thing I wish they did, I wish there was a cut somewhere in here that allowed him to do the point. You know, no big deal at the end of the day. It's really not that big of a deal. Just, you know, it would have been nice. So, yeah, there we go. Anyways, yeah, this is kind of a quick little review. So, on to the final thoughts. Final thoughts wise, let's talk about the negatives. Now, negatives wise, I really don't have many. But my biggest one that I'm going to continue to harp on entirely because of what you had to pay to get this. This does not feel worth the leader class price point. It genuinely does not. Now, granted, I got this second hand. I received it as a gift. The only reason I'm slamming this criticism on him is because, unfortunately, it's a very real criticism. You had to pay $50 for this. This does not do enough to warrant $50. At $50, he should have had Roller. At $50, he should have had the Energon Axe. All the things that you got with the Centurion drone, he should have came with box standard. Like, just, you cannot tell me otherwise. I refuse to believe that there was no other way they could have included anything else with this at the budget. You're yanking my chain at that point. There's no way. Due to the fact that he is part of that whole weapon system gimmick thing that they've kept going throughout all these years, even some of the newer figures do, they do it too, including some others. It really does kind of hurt him here, especially since he's got those little blastific pimples on his shoulders. Those are a little unsightly. But, you know, if it bugs you that much, just cut them off. In fact, that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. I have the nippers for it. I can more than do it. I'm just saying, you know, from an aesthetic standpoint, it's kind of ugly, and I just genuinely don't care for it. And I guess he's a little on the articulation, but even then, that's not really a deal breaker, at least not to me. So, and one more thing that I almost forgot. He also has the opening chest gimmick. Yeah, I tend to forget about that a lot. You're going to see that happen in my videos. That's something that's so bog standard with these Prime toys now that you literally, sometimes I just forget that it's there and just show it off. So there you go. He has the opening chest gimmick. There's the negatives. Let's move on to the positives. Positives wise, he is quite the looker. What little paint he does have looks great. The overall look and feel of the figure is fantastic. What articulation he does have works tremendously. The fact that he does still have the functionality with his trailer, I will admit this much, it is a nice touch. And, you know, for an overall package, I don't hate this. I genuinely don't. In fact, when it comes to the overall rating, just to go to show how much I actually really like this Prime, he's a low platinum. So, yeah, there you go. There is the Earthrise Leader Class Optimus Prime. And this is BC saying stay tuned and get your geek on. I'll talk to you guys next time. And yes, he's next.